Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester. And so are you if you're watching this type of content. I just know it's probably the case. Anyway, the name of my channel is Manifesting Magic with Dr. J. And of course, I am Dr. J. Not a medical doctor. I am a PhD. Now, you see the stethoscope behind me. Let me see if I can grab it without losing my mic. My brother, who's an ultimate practical joker, showed up at my PhD surprise party with this as a gift. It is authentic. It is very nice and high quality. And it also has my name engraved on it, if you can see. And then he act like, oh, you're not that kind of doctor? And then everybody laughed and he was like, man, he said, that joke cost me over $100. So here's my stethoscope. But I like to think that it is to listen to the beat of life as opposed to someone's actual heartbeat, right? So anyway, gave you a little backstory on that since I'm sitting at my desk today. And let's go ahead and get right into the video. What I want to talk about today is trying to be better without getting better. And I'll say that again, trying to be better without getting better. What I mean by trying to be better without getting better is kind of like the old adage of, putting lipstick on a pig, right? No matter what you do to dress it up, you can put a little wig on it, you can put some lashes on it, you can put some makeup on it. You can do all those wonderful things to it. But if at the end of the day, there's some issues that are deeply affecting you and how you maneuver and how you react to the world and how you create and how you attract, it's never going to get cleaned up by just acting better, right? So you're in traffic, someone, cuts you off. It pees you off to like no end, right? And you don't physically react. You don't react out loud. People in the car think, wow, they handled that pretty well and all. But inside you are raging. You are angry. You are, cursing the person in front of you's mama, grandmother, great-grandmother, and everything under the sun, right? This is what I mean by acting better and not actually being better. There are three main things that I've seen with this because I'm also guilty of acting better and not actually being better because we're told sometimes fake it till you make it. But with some things, if you fake it too long and you fake it too deep, you never make it, right? And we want to make it. We want to make it. So one thing that I noticed with that when you are acting better or being better without actually getting better is when it creates a false sense of emotional superiority. Because when you're able to keep yourself together and you're able to look like all the time that your emotions are intact, you know what you're doing, you are not tripping about anything, and you just laid back. I was told that with somebody at work. I mean, I have anxiety all the time. I'm one of those people, that's how my body reacts. It just goes to anxiety. And I'm like, wait, everything's okay, calm down. But it's just a normal, it's used to doing that. It's a habit of the body. So nonetheless, if it thinks it sees danger or it's around something that it's not, in control of, put it that way. So when this happens, someone can think if you're showing the issues that you have more of a problem than the people that don't show the issues. So the people that don't show the issues because their emotions are not visibly outgoing or they're who they are on the inside is not readily available. They're not very raw. They're not raw. That's a good term for it. They're not raw. They're much more restrained and they're much more, it starts with the C. I can't think of the word. They're much more, I wouldn't say content, but anyway, I'm going to figure that word out. Collected. They're much more collected on a regular basis. And then but they're maybe dealing with the same thing someone else is dealing with. By acting better, and people are validating it by saying, wow, you're so amazing and strong. Look how you handled that. Wow, that didn't bother anything because they're just going off of what they can see. It gives us a false sense of emotional superiority. Because the idea that we can keep it together and we think that everybody believes that we can keep it together, it also detracts from you being able to fall apart when necessary so that you can continue to grow. Because there's no finish line to get to when it comes to any of these things. There's some things that may be occurring too frequently that you want to clean out, but some things are probably going to be with you for life to some degree, just maybe not to the degree that it was with you when you were 10 or 15 years old, right? So there'll be memories of it. There's a physical memory of it, there's a mental memory of it, and there just won't be a place for you to act it out on a regular basis. So one thing about being better and not actually getting better with your stuff, it gives you a false sense of emotional superiority. And then you may walk around thinking that you can tell other people how to manage their emotions just because you've learned how to not show yours. Another thing about being better, I would say acting better, without actually getting better underneath. Um, for me, when I've done that, it's built up resentment for me because I wasn't really fixing anything. I was just walking around being happy. And then, like, every time something happened, it was another little chink in the armor, right? And I was just like, okay. But at the same time, I'm not forgiving it. I'm not moving on from it. I'm just acting better. I'm just acting like it's not affecting me, but at the end of the day, it is because it's secretly adding up. And I'm like, adding these little, what do they call those little picks the children draw in school where they draw the four, then, I'm like adding up these little notches and I'm just, knocking it off. And by the time I get to a year, I got 15 offenses that you have done to me that I have acted better about, but I was not actually being better about it on the inside, right? So I think over time it can build up resentment and bitterness if you don't address when issues happen because you feel like it shouldn't bother you. If it is bothering you, then you have to figure out why, because it doesn't really just go away. So you can act like you're okay and cool and calm and collected, but if it's not really getting better, then there's something else that needs to happen, right? Something that needs to be worked through. And third, I guess my final way I have to share today about trying to be better without actually getting better. It's everything becomes someone else's fault. Because you built up this emotional superiority and because you look picture perfect in what you do, right? You built up this emotional superiority and the world is validating it for you. At the same time, you still have resentment and bitterness being built up into you because you haven't really dealt with any of your issues. And then so from there, that's when everything that happens and everything you go through somehow becomes someone else's fault. Because how can it be your fault? You're better, right? Even if you're not better on the inside, you have the facade of better, right? This is so common, especially in relationships where there's some tendencies of someone to be a lot more cool-headed than the other person. The cool-headed person usually gets to walk away feeling emotionally superior because they don't act out the way the person who is not in emotional control. But I'll tell you this, the person who is out of emotional control is further along with addressing and fixing that issue than the person who has the emotional superiority and who doesn't even look at it and who doesn't even see that they have an issue. The problem comes in, though, with those types of power balances, I guess, in relationships where one person is very collected and another person is very, high strung, I guess, to some degree, is that the high strung person falls for the same okie doke that the collected person falls for with outside validation. They also believe that they have more of a problem, that they're the bigger issue, that they have more of a share of the issues that would ever happen in a relationship because they outwardly express their dissatisfaction with it. So we want to just make sure that no matter where you are on the spectrum, no matter if you're a person that's sitting around with perfectly cool, calm, and collected, like a sociopath. You ain't bothered by nothing. If you all the way on that end of the spectrum, the world can tell you a lot that you're perfect, that you're doing exactly. It's them with the issues. Look how you are. You're respectful. You're kind. You're blah. But they don't know what's going on inside of you. They don't know if you're causing the ruckus through your negative energy that's not even being displayed, but maybe is affecting another person in a certain way, and you start to believe that, well, because they are so uncouth that it has to be them, right? It's so easy to trick yourself when these situations arise. So I always say, keep in mind that anything that's triggering you or anything that's giving you problems or anything that's some sort of an issue for you on a deep level, and you've been able to avoid it in life thus far because there's not been anything around to challenge any of those notions, just know that acting better and acting above things doesn't mean that you are. And if you're not actually above it, then it's like every reaction that you have to everything is pretty much regressing into a cave behind a whole lot of walls, right? And a lot of people don't see this in themselves because they get to be emotionally superior in so many environments. But the minute that they are not able to do that, then they can see that, okay, I was never really better. Okay, I built up resentment and bitterness in this area too, and didn't even realize it because look what I'm getting from it. Look how it's displaying in my life. Look at the untrust that I brought into new relationships, requiring unnecessary pledges of allegiance from people, or looking at someone else's need to have a pledge done to them as them being so emotionally off balance, right? So you have to remember that everybody's going through some type of emotional upheaval to some degree at any given time. So don't trick yourself into believing that just because you are collected in life and people tell you that you are, you know, mature and you are, above it all to some degree, that you actually don't have any things in your life that trigger you or give you issue. And the first thing I would say is just be sure that you're not lying to yourself and that you are aware of your adversary, because you can't really attack or go to war with, I'll say, or wrestle with an adversary that you can't put your finger on, right? And having an adversary, having struggles, having emotional issues is not necessarily specifically a trademark of a person who shows it. People that don't show it have a lot of stuff going on too. Just keep that in mind, right? So we always want to make sure that we are actually working on the issues rather than just pretending that we're working on the issues, or being content with looking like we have it all together rather than cleaning out some of the garbage, right? So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this message I had today. I'm going to get back to working on some of these little projects I got happening at my desk. And just make sure that, you're actually being better and you're not faking the being better, because faking the being better or just looking like you're better, it doesn't solve anything. And you still have to deal with the same issues on how people react to you, what you're bringing out of them, how they are receiving you. That's still an issue. And it's not an issue in most public environments or people where you have shallow contact. It is something my ex-mother-in-law used to say to me way back in the day, and I wasn't listening to her either. When I was like 25, and I was like, you don't mean no good to me. I'm married to your son. But no, she used to always say, I used to say, people like me everywhere I go, my job and this and that, and I never have these kind of problems. Why do I have it with him and this and that? And she would say, where are you naked? And mind you, at the time I wasn't listening, right? And mind you, it's kind of like 15 years later. That's why you never know when someone will be affected. I mean, I got this message 5 years probably ago, but I remember thinking about it, where are you naked? And I was just like, oh, shut up, woman. You don't know what's going on in this. This man is wrong. With all my 25 years of wisdom, I know that I got the answers. And so she was just telling me that this is the place where you're the most vulnerable, where you have showed the most of who you are, and even those ugly places that now the behavior is being mirrored. So now it may be a struggle for you to actually believe that you weren't perfect when you came into this environment, right? And some people actually can be fooled by thinking, oh, I was so great in every other area of my life. How come in this particular area, people are having issues with me in my personal area? That means in personal environments, which are emotional issues, even though it doesn't show on the outside, you still have some stuff to work on, right? So let's keep that in mind. Let's get better and not just act better, because, be the change is the message. It's not act like the change you want to see in the world. It's be the change, right? And the being starts on the inside. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. I might do more videos sitting down at this desk, right? Because I like this chair's kind of bouncy. It's kind of fun. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my music, get back to working on things. And I hope this message at least entertains or intrigues someone today, right? So like, subscribe, share if you choose, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.